We've all heard the old saying, buyer beware, but in the case of something as costly as a home, you really need to pay attention to detail. Well, today, real estate contributor Barbara Corcoran has some information this morning to keep buyers and sellers from falling into financial traps, especially in this very tough housing market. Barbara, good morning.
Nice to be here.
Listen, let's take one by one. You say don't fall for a low price come on when you shop for a mortgage. You're talking about ARMs.
ARMs, but particularly ARMs that advertise a 1% interest rates. Banks really need to make money on their money, and the interest rate right now is 6.25%. So when a bank advertises 1%, you're nuts to go for that kind of a product, because what they do is they take the missing interest rate and pile it onto your principal. And so before you know it, you owe a lot more money than your house is even worth.
So what do you want to do instead?
You don't want to fall for a teaser rate. If it sounds too good to be true, you just should say, your common sense is, it's too good to be true. Don't go there.
You also say it could cost you a fortune to get out of your adjustable mortgage.
Yes, a lot of people don't realize. You think if you're paying off your mortgage, when it gets down to a certain amount, you could just pay it all off and get out of the financing. But that's not the way it is. Banks have a method of kicking you in your butt as you go out the door and charging you 2% of the original loan amount. It's their way of saying goodbye, but you have to be aware and read the instrument. They're negotiable and you don't have to sign up for it.
What about this idea that we can always refinance?
Well, that's one of the biggest misnomers, because people believe if I don't like my monthly mortgage rate, if I don't like the payment I'm making, I'll just go back and refinance.
Right.
It's stinking thinking. It never works out. But it really is. I mean, I wish I could say it worked out, because what happens today is banks are very nervous about lending, and they're afraid to lend unless they requalify you. And most buyers today and most homeowners today can't requalify for the same instrument. So you're stuck with your old mortgage.
Okay, you also say don't rely on your mortgage commitment if it's more than a week old. What do you mean?
Well, mostly in the old days, and when I say old days, only a year ago, if you got a mortgage commitment to go out shopping for a home, you could rely on it. It was as good as having the cash. Today, banks again only issue them with a caveat that you have to renew it after a week or two. So you think you have that security in your hand, but you go out there, the bank isn't necessarily there for you. You have to update it on a weekly basis.
You also say that struggling towns are cutting town budgets.
It's kind of sad, because what happens is with homes worth less in certain markets, they get less tax revenue. And so who's going to pay the bills to run the town? So they're cutting back on street cleaning, personnel cost, crossing guards. In the state of Florida, in fact, which is one of the hardest hit markets, they're going as far as increasing the tolls on the highway to make up for the lost revenue.
So what is your best advice then to people who are, I mean, there are a lot of people right now, Barbara, who are just trying to sell their home, who put all their money into making it up, making it beautiful, and they can't sell their home. And then there are other people who are thinking, well, maybe I should wait before I buy my home. What's the right choice for each side?
Well, for each side, certainly if you're looking to buy a home, I personally believe there's no better time, because there's mass confusion in the market. Money is cheap. Interest rates have gone down. Sellers are nervous, so prices are negotiable, and there's a lot more product to look at, a lot more houses to choose from. So I think you're crazy to stall off. And you know what happens when you stall off? The minute you decide you're going to be buying the home, everybody else in the universe, for some magical reason, decides it's the right time too, and so you have all the competition all over. So that's the advice for the buyer. And I don't think I answered your other question, did I?
For the seller.
For the seller. Sellers today have to realize that their neighbor's their competitor. They have to price it right from the get-go, coming out of the gate.
Don't get greedy.
And price it aggressively. Everybody's greedy, but you have to swallow your greed and price it right.
I wish I could bottle you up. Barbara Corcoran, thank you so much this morning.
My
Good
pleasure.
advice at a very important time.